All right, welcome back to Stock Tricks with Nick for this week's Breakout Watchlist from January 25th to the 29th. All the stocks that we'll be talking about today have breakout potential in the next coming week. They're all going to be above their 200-day simple moving average, which itself is in an uptrend. They're also 150% off their 52-week lows or more. We're always trying to trade the strongest stocks getting stronger, not weak stocks bouncing back, and have gone through some period of consolidation. So we're not just buying into an extended breakout. Last week's winners, we had APPN up 20%, MITK up 11%, and VCYT up 9%. Uh, you'll also be able to vote on your favorite setup. So I have 16 different stocks today that we'll be covering. On Twitter, Stock Trick Nick there. I'll be putting a poll of 4 stocks that you guys can vote from. BEEM, ENPH, LAZR, and YALA. And then whatever money I make on TikTok by doing videos, I put into a Robinhood account, and whatever the allocation of votes is from this poll is how I'll be investing that money in the coming week. So make sure you watch the video and then click on whatever your favorite setup is. Quick disclaimer, uh, everything that I'll be talking about is for educational purposes only, not financial advice, not stock advice. Please do your own due diligence before trading, and trading comes with financial risk. Here is the stock lineup for the week. I put stars by the 4 that you guys can vote on, but we'll go through each of these shortly. All right, let's jump to the charts. And if you guys find any value from this live stream or from this stream, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, Stock Tricks with Nick. All right, so first we got ARLO. You can see 200-day, 50-day, and then the 8 in the 20, the green line here, and the 8 are both very close together as this is tightening up now. This has jumped, what was the breakout? 107% up and then pulled back, I think 18, 19%. So high tide flag, those are 90% out in 8 weeks or less, and then a pullback within 25% from the highs. So we have a nice high tide flag here. We had a couple pullback days last week, maybe the week before, to undercut a lot of the previous lows in the last rally up through here. And since then, it's tightened up nicely. Volume really coming down. So with there's less volume and as price tightens up, that just means there's less disagreement on the price. So when there's that illiquidity and a big buyer steps in, they'll have to be bidding up the ask. So they typically run a little bit faster that way. So this one has a nice pivot through here. We have highs of 845, 845, and 841. So break over 845 is my potential buy point on this. That's ARLO. Next, we have ATEC, and I currently have a position in this stock. This is one that, again, 250, 28, all doing the right, all in the right order, all in a strong uptrend. This broke out from where I initially got stopped out previously, but you're not going to catch every trade. Since then, it's creating a nice kind of flat top through here. Had this undercut day, and then we undercut even that pullback there, which shakes out any of the weaker hands, anyone using tight stops, which I use tight stops as well. So if I was in this trade, that would have been unfortunate, but thankfully got in on a break over the 19th high. And so what we're looking for is just a break over all-time high, 1496. You could wait for 15, just a round number. But this is doing all the right things. Very little volume in the last 4 days. That's ATEC. Next, we have BEEM, very, very powerful stock here, up 300% since just November. Since then, we did have a very strong pullback. Let's see, what was this? 35% pullback. Then the second one came, that was 20%, and now we're forming a nice pivot through here. Let's see, highs 66, 66.14, 66.32. So break over Friday's high of 66.32 is my potential buy point. You can see the 20-day now coming up to provide support there. Let's see if we can launch off that pivot. Next we have CrowdStrike, CRWD, another one. All the ones that I'll be covering are in strong uptrends, but I do like to point out 200, 50, 28, all doing the right things. Um, Not quite a cup and handle, but broke out. And then we had a lower volume pullback. You can see ATR, average true range, really coming in. So again, less disagreement on the price, and it does have a nice pivot with Wednesday and Thursday's highs, 228.57, 228.50. So break over 228.57 is the potential buy point. It's CrowdStrike. Next we have DAC. Let's see, since like November 1st, we had a run of 175%, pullback from the top of 23%, so still does qualify for the high type flag. Again, 90% up in 8 weeks or less, pullback of less than 25%. This, you can see the nice pivot point through there, but what I wanted to point out is on Friday, this gap down lower, undercut some previous lows, not the low from the 15th, but all the other ones during the pullback, and then rallied through the close, closed right at the high of the day, and now we're close to that pivot point. Excuse me. So break over 30.57, the high from January 19th is my possible buy point. That's DAC. Next we have ENPH. Uh, this one, let's see, there's a couple different things to point out here. We already had kind of the diagonal break, but we're sitting basically right on that diagonal line. First pullback got undercut, so anyone who got in, whoops, anyone who got in as it bounced off the 8-day on this quick pullback probably got stopped out as we undercut that. But volume's fine. We on this pullback day was a little bit more volume than you would like to see. You want to see as little volume coming back as possible, ideally, but the next day shot right back up, reclaimed the 8-day exponential moving average, um, and ran higher Thursday and Friday. So and Friday had a inside candle, so the highs were inside the high from Thursday, lows were inside above the lows from Thursday, and it came on lower volume. So all looking good here. Break over Thursday's high of 214.50 is my possible buy point. That's ENPH. Next we have FEYE, and this has been on the breakout watch list for a couple weeks now, but still doing its thing. Another high type flag. We had a move of 93% up, pullback of 18%, and you could see tons of volume on the way out. And then the second it started pulling back and flagging out, very, very little volume. So not many people are trying to get out of the stock, even though it elevated 100% in a couple of days, which is always a good sign. I traded this a couple times, stopped for even on a few, but still looking really good. Basically, we had a kind of a breakout malfunction on Wednesday. That's where I took the trade, pulled back, stopped me out of either stopped me out or I just took the trade off. But a break over that high of 23.26 is my possible buy point now. If we do break over that, we're over the main part of the volume shelf here, so less resistance on the way up. FEYE. Rounding out the first half of the video, we got GP. This one, really nice cup handle, pulling back to the 20-day simple moving average. That's holding really well support. And look at the volume bars on the way out compared to during this choppy handle action. Very, very little volume during that point. The pivot point, a couple different ones. You could use, I'll probably use the high from the 20th, that's 31.01. You could wait and use the high from the 14th, that's 31.95, if you just want more confirmation in the move before getting in. But yeah, IPO, I think, let's see, what kind of action was that? Yeah, 287% that first breakout, 100%. Oh, this is also IPO high type flag. Let's see. Yeah, 96% on the way up. Yeah, IPO high tie flag. Uh, Definitely keep this on the watch list. That's GP. Let's go to HUBS. This is one now it's starting to form that quicker VCP action. So from the peak here, we had a first pullback of 12%, and then the second one from this guy's high to the 50-day simple moving average of 8%, and then we just had maybe it's just the start of the pullback here, but either way, it does set up a nice pivot point um, with the highs through there. So 399.45, 399, break over. You could say to just 400 round number. Break over 400 is buyable with this one. That's HUBS. Next we have LAZR, and this has been a frustrating trade a couple times for me, but doesn't mean we turn our back on it. Just if we get stopped out, we get stopped out. We take the risk off the table, allow it to set up again. That's exactly what it's doing, so I have no problem taking this trade again. We had kind of a false breakout over this pivot point on the 13th that pulled back, undercut the low from the 12th, and the last pullback, which is always good to see. Get those stops flushed out, and then only have the strong hands. We did look like we were breaking out on Thursday. That squatted because I was trying to trade so defensively this week as the markets just melt higher. Um, if something wasn't working out immediately, I was just taking off the trade. So that was 2% loss or so. Friday, we had a nice move up, held both the 8-day exponential moving average and the 20-day simple moving average. So I would just be looking for a break over the high from Friday, 34.40 as your possible buy point. It's right through here. With this name, we've covered it a couple times, but tons of volume on the way out, very little volume on the way back. And you see that with every breakout and consolidation, uh, with every breakout and consolidation period here. So doing all the right things on a volume, on a price, and forming a pivot now. So definitely keep your eyes on that one. That's LAZR. And that's one that you'll be able to vote on for this week's TikTok Trading Challenge. Next, we have NOVA. You guys probably sick of me saying pivot, but really nice buy point here. So 34.27, the high from Friday. Basically an inside candle. It's technically higher highs, higher lows, but lower volume. Most of the candle was captured inside of Thursday's rally, which did undercut Wednesday's low with that nice lower wick that punctured the 8-day exponential moving average. So took out any tight stops through that. And this has been obviously in a very, very strong uptrend the past 52 weeks. It's NOVA. Next, we have NVCR. Similar kind of setup to HUBS. Broke out and then just starting to tighten here. Low volume the last week. Average true range ATR coming in, so less disagreement on the price. And you're just looking for a break over was that Wednesday's high of 175 as your possible buy point. We break over that, we're over the main part of this volume shelf, very little resistance up top. Next we have RYAM. This is one I think we might have had on last week's watch list. I know we had it on the Wednesday midweek movers watch list, but basically just cup and kind of a wacky handle here with a lot of price disagreement during this maybe kind of failed cup handle breakout here, this 4-day handle. Since then, trading sideways, and we did have a really nice long lower wick on Friday's candle, which came through a lot of the previous day's low. Let's see, 698, 702. Didn't quite puncture the $7 mark there or the 20-day simple moving average, but did take out any stops through a couple previous days' lows, and then rallied, closed at the high of the day. I would be looking for a break over the 19th high of 750 as a possible buy point on this one. It's RYAM. Next, we have Shopify. This is one that had built a base for 5, 6 months here from July. Did break out here. You can see I bought the breakout on tons of volume through this pivot. Since then, sold some into strength, got stopped at the rest at my entry point, and it has rallied back up. Had a pullback with a couple of long lower wicks on the 15th and the 19th, and then really low volume this last week as average true range ATR comes in, and you now have kind of a diagonal that you could take if you're trying to jump in the trade much sooner. Otherwise, just to break over the high, let's see, the high from Wednesday, that's $1,216.32. So 1216.32 is your possible buy point on a pivot level. Otherwise, diagonal depends what day you want to take the trade, but that looks nice there. So that's SHOP, Shopify. Next we have TCON, TCON. You can see I traded it through this breakout. Really strong action on here. That was 100% move or so. Since then, we had a cup, broke out, and kind of forming a handle now. Lots of disagreement on the price, but let me hide the one. Good volume. Volume's doing all the right things here. Heavy on the way out, very little on the pullback days. So this is another one that does have a kind of a confluence of indicators. So whoever's trading diagonal breakouts, it also aligns with right here, the high from the 20th, 1099, also, excuse me, also aligns with just a round number breakout. So break over $11, that's my possible buy point. And as we break out over these pivot points that I'm talking about, excuse me, always look for the volume coming in at that point. Because if it's just me and you buying, that's not going to keep the stock up. But if you see a ton of volume coming in, likely that's institutions buying the stock, and that will have more support on the way out. So doesn't mean it has to work, but the more volume you see at the breakup point, the more likely it is to be a winning trade. And we'll wrap it up with YALA. This is one that I took with a bounce off after it punctured the 8-day exponential and 20-day simple moving average on this day. I missed this really nice breakout. That was kind of kicking myself there. So when it came back and punctured underneath and then recaptured both those moving averages, that's when I got in the first trade. Got stopped out. Well, sold some into strength, got stopped out of the rest at my entry point. Since then, kind of forming a inverse head and shoulders. So you have the left, you have the head, and then the right shoulder. So this is one where I'm just looking for a break over Thursday's high, right through there at 1964 as your possible buy point. Outside of this red volume day, which likely a lot of that is coming in this long upper wick on the day, volume's doing all the right things, and this is an IPO carving out inverse head and shoulders pattern. All right, so that is the breakout watch list for the week, 16 stocks. Make sure you vote on your favorite one on my Twitter account. That's Stock Trick Nick on Twitter. Give me a follow on StockTwits and TikTok. That's Stock Tricks with Nick. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy any trading content, and like the video if you got any value out of it. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you Wednesday for the Midweek Movers live stream. Have a great week.